And we are back
Finally.
on the Free Range Tales. With me, as always, my homie, Adrian Lozano.
We did it. We got back.
We are back.
On the Free Range Tales.
Yeah, man, and we got some guests with us today. Our lovely, lovely guests.
Very lovely wives.
Amy and Anna. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Hello. Holla.
And we are recording. Everyone wants to see video. We got some requests for video, so we're going to give it a shot. We're going to try it out, see how it goes. You know, we'll see. And we're in the dojo. You know, I call this the dojo because I spend a lot of time in here. It's where I craft all my ideas.
I got Jeremy, your son, to actually call it a man cave today.
Yeah, and then he told me to get out. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much I like that.
Beat it.
I didn't tell him to say that. I'm just going to say that.
No, this is where a lot of things start here. My days start here working out. This is where the ideas come together. So we record in here.
And
so
this is
here.
where we crack beers.
That's right. We got to do that first.
Do that.
Cheers, guys. Cheers. Whoa.
Oh, man.
Salute,
Bubbly.
salute, salute.
That's a
Everybody,
good
cheers,
sound.
cheers,
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Things have happened to
Cheers.
where we had to get back in the studio.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's, you know, it's been too long. I actually think about recording a lot. We've talked about it a lot. It's been a long time. It's been well over a year. I think we've talked about it like every day for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, just life's busy. And, you know, the whole like social media podcast space has gotten really, really busy. Which isn't a bad thing, but there's a lot of people doing it. So it's cool to be back in the studio and kind of sharing our thoughts. And like, you know, it always was kind of to share our perspective and to share our experiences
Yeah,
and kind of like
what we just did.
bring value to people out there. And people, it's funny, we were talking about that before we turned it on right now, is that people have been asking, like, when are you guys going to record? Like, when are the stories coming out? So it's cool to kind of get back. And, you know, there's people that actually listen other than my mom. So that's pretty cool. And
We have friends. Some of them
But,
have been places, but you know, we've been posting on our personal Instagram, so it's not like we've not been doing anything.
Yeah. And, you know, we've been getting out there and, you know, doing our thing still. And so it's like fun to kind of get back in the studio and record and just kind of share our story. And
Heck yeah.
a story we do have.
It's a good one.
It was
Happy to be a part of this one.
Yes.
long time in the making.
No,
I think.
no, for
Not
sure.
that long. It's only been like 3 years that we've started this.
True, but that's...
I count that as a long time.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about 3 years in prison is a long time.
Yeah, but
That's what I felt
We're-
like, a
we're
prisoner
all
in my own
newbies
thoughts
and we
of
all-
missing my deer.
I think
So-
for as long we're so new to this that I think 3
That's
years
true.
is not that.
Yeah, I
not
think
that long.
it's funny, like, you know, what we're talking about is hunting, right? And bow hunting specifically. And we got into bow hunting about 3 years ago. We took a trip to over the counter to Arizona in January. I think I can't remember what episode it is, but there's an episode kind of recapping that trip. And we had like this epic trip. It inspired us all. Like we all like picked up different things in hunting to kind of figure that out. And it's been fun to kind of progress. And there's been this progression each year and we've built on it. And it's fun that the four of us get to go hunt together.
Team turn them up.
Yeah,
that
we
was
have
a
a
new.
team name.
That was a new. Team,
I wanna let
team
you
Turn 'em
drop
Up
that.
dub-
I wanna
dub
let
this
you
year
drop
for
that.
sure.
Team turn them up.
That's right. That's the way I should introduce him. Is Team Turn 'em Up is here.
The hashtag that. Let's just hashtag
Got
that.
it.
We definitely will start that one off. But yeah, I mean, you know, this one kind of came. You know, I think I just wanted to get out in the woods again. We watched so many hunting videos on YouTube or whatever, and one of the premier ones to me, a premier hunt to me, was to go on an elk hunt, right? And so last year I started kind of like doing some homework on trying to figure out where we could go elk hunting.
First of all, Jay, we were hunting deer first, so my mind was never like towards elk. Like
And I still have.
it was just like driven towards
But
deer.
Jason is always researching. You
Right,
gotta know
right.
that.
So like last year when he's like, hey, like I'm starting to build up elk points, and I'm like, elk? I never thought of that shit. Like that wasn't there yet. I had to get a deer first. But all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'm gonna build up elk points, and I'm like, dude, I've never even thought of that yet. Like, what are you talking about?
And
so
for people,
it grew from there.
Yeah, for sure. And for people that don't know, like you have to you have to get your license, right? A hunting license in different states, and different states have different rules and different ways to get tags, which allows you to go hunt an animal. Like, I'm just kind of just basic level, right? Like you have to have a license and a tag to go hunt an animal.
FDR would be rolling in his grave right now. No, I'm just kidding.
And so some states have different rules, and some states it's really hard to get tags because they're very they're managed in such a way that there's trophy potential, or I don't like the word trophy, but there's big game potential there, and they manage the resources well. So
personal records.
Yeah, correct.
We'll call it personal
correct.
records.
And so
PRs.
there's stuff like that occurs, and so in order to get those tags, you have to build points, and points, it then becomes a lottery, and the more points you have, the better opportunity you have to get a tag. And so I just was like, well, I'm going to start building points around all these different states, all the western states, so that I can go hunt and kind of make this a long-term thing, and it may take
How do you build points?
You equate those to years, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
every
basically.
Season,
Every year,
don't get a tag, you get a point.
every
1
year
point.
you have to apply, and once you apply, if you don't get a tag, then you get a point. And then it may take, for a really, really premium area, it may take 15 or 20 years, right? And so I was like, well, I'm just going to go long game, and I'm going to start building points. And so in Arizona, I had 1 point. Utah, I had I just started applying in Utah. I haven't really expanded beyond that, but
Sure.
California, I think I've got 7 points. And so
Ooh.
I'm trying to build all these points to get on some cool whatever, just cool hunts. And so I started kind of building points, and in Arizona I started doing research, and I was like, well, hey, I want to get out in the elk woods. I had 1 point in Arizona. Arizona's probably the best state in the United States to elk hunt. They have the best games. They manage it really well. It's just an amazing place to go elk hunt.
Shout out to Arizona for their game management, their
Right.
conservation. They've done a great job.
Yep.
They really, really have. Even from the total aspect of actually growing big game and managing poachers as well.
For sure. Yeah, they do a good job. I think Alaska's probably number one in my mind. I'm sure there's other states that I'm into, but
low population though.
But Arizona does an amazing job, and they manage the resources very, very well, right? And so
It's got to be tougher.
I had the 1 point, and I was like, hey, I started doing research, and then kind of found out, I was like, you know what? One of my goals would be to just get in the elk woods and just get out there. I've never done it. The only way you can learn is to get out there and do it. There's over-the-counter tags in certain states, but I was like, you know what? I got a point in Arizona. Why do I like hunting there? I love it there. It's cool. I'm like, why don't I just try to get a tag there? And so I started doing research about how to increase my odds of getting a tag. And then I saw this cow tag, and then I saw if I apply as a group.
Real quick. Where did you find out how to increase your odds?
Go hunt.
Go Hunt.
Go Hunt.
So is that a subscription or
Yeah,
just...
you can subscribe to Go Hunt, and they just give you information. They give you draw odds. They give you all the information. They give you information about
How much you gotta
hunting
pay for that?
zones. Yeah, it's a,
How much you
know,
gotta pay?
It's one of the things, but actually, it's helped me to
Damn
get.
it.
When you look in the
it's-
freezer,
it's-
That's true.
It's paid off, and so yeah, it's definitely paid off. And so I did some research on there, found out Arizona's point system and how to kind of work the system to put the odds in your favor. And one of the things was to apply as a group, and so I was like, you know what?
So last February, I have a very clear, vivid memory of this conversation, actually.
And it's the reason why you're drinking hop water.
Actually, at the time, I was not drinking hot water. Thank you
Exactly.
very much.
Exactly.
But right now, yes.
But yes, right now. Yeah.
Shout out to Hop Water. Thank you all,
Lagunitas.
beer manufacturers
Yeah.
that make hop water. Shout out to you guys. You're the real ones.
It was the last February, and Jason came to me. I was giving Jeremy a bath, and he said, "Hey, are you gonna get a hunting license for Arizona deer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was thinking about it. At least a javelina, try to pull a javelina tag." And he's like, "Well, I've been doing my research. That is the key for just listen for the next few minutes, and he's going to tell you what you need to do." And it came to, I've been doing this research. I want to apply for a cow elk tag or an elk tag, but it's probably going to be a cow. Can I get your license number? And because we're going to apply as a group. And I said, okay, when do you need to buy? He said, tonight. So we finished up with Jeremy.
Cutting it down to the wire, Jay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And
Preface to the next story. Cutting it down to the wire.
so I hopped on, got my license for the year, and Jason applied. And he did all the hard work. I just did the buying the license and handing him the number. So.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and I didn't really think too much of it at the time. I was like, well, if anything, I'm just going to get another point, and it's cool. And the way Arizona works is that you have a number of choices for hunts that you can pick from.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a bunch of research, found an area that was like a cool trophy zone that I was like, I want to go hunt there. It's like a premium area. And I was like, if I pulled a bull tag, because like with 1 point, you can potentially, you have like a chance, like a very small chance, but you could pull a trophy tag or a premium tag. And so I was like, I'll just try. And then I figured out that they do this swath where your first 3 choices, they like go through those choices. And so I put a bull for my first 2 choices, and then I put a cow for my 3rd choice in hopes that it would actually work.
Interesting.
And so what ended up happening is that we drew. And the reason I knew that we drew is that my credit card got hit for, like $1,200. And I was like,
That's
smack
how
him, dude. Like,
Smack 'em.
Fast forward a few weeks later, and Jason's giggling in the kitchen,
You hear that, guys? You better have $1,200
ready
in
to go.
credit, ready to go if your wife wants to go with you hunt.
You just need a teammate, man. You just
It's
need a
true.
teammate.
Party.
That's
If you do the party,
it. And he's giggling in the kitchen. I'm like, what the hell are you giggling about
Heck
over
yeah.
there?
Heck
Thinking
yeah.
like, man, this must be one hell of a meme or something. And he said, like a kid on Christmas morning, oh, my credit card just got charged for 2 elk tags. And I said, shut up.
and at that time we knew that she was pregnant now,
Yes.
and so now she's pregnant, and this hunt is still 6 months away.
I thought
right?
that's how you found out. Like she was like, "Oh, by the way."
By the way,
No.
pregnant.
So,
Yeah, so I mean, it's like now it's like there's kind of like this weird like thing, right? And like okay, like well, we're gonna go on an elk hunt. She's gonna be 7 months pregnant, 7.5 months pregnant.
that was my bad time. It was actually 8.
Yeah, 8 months pregnant. Yeah, so it's insane.
About that, you did badass.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
So
but
good.
that kind of sets the stage. So elk tag, right? We got an elk tag. We kind of knew the
You
thing.
got 2 L tags.
And I called you right away. It was like, dude, you'll never believe it. Like I got one.
My count got hit.
And then I was like, dude, like, right away, like, I go to, like, all right, well, like, do you guys want to come? Like, do you want to roll with? Because, like, for me, it's like...
I went to right away with, they need to come.
Yeah, I need some help. I need help.
Yes,
For
sir.
sure.
Yes, sir.
And that kind of brings me to, like, one of the big points, and this will kind of be a theme throughout this conversation, is, like, teamwork. Like, I always envisioned, and I've hunted by myself so many times, and unsuccessfully, but I've hunted by myself so many times, and then I realize how much of a team sport it really is,
Yeah.
or a team activity. It like everybody contributes in one way or another, and that'll be a common theme throughout this whole story, right? Is like how much of a team it is, and how much like
Dude, just an extra set of eyes is just like
it makes a world of difference. Like how many times like
Amazing.
I'm just like I'm looking one way and not seeing anything, and it's like Anna will be like, oh, I see them, they're right there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there they are.
Or I'm
Like, right.
talking to you and I'm like, I just saw a butt over there.
It happened to us a
Literally
million
what
times.
happened.
It happened on this trip
Yeah.
so many times.
Yeah.
And so, once we figured out the tag, I had done a little bit of homework about the area, right? But then it like starts to like e-scouting, right? Like instantly start to e-scout. You got 6 months to do it, and I had like the ambitious plans of going like, oh, we're gonna go out there. What Adrian do? We'll drive out there. We'll go out there a couple of weekends and go hang out. And we never made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bugs flying around here.
No, it's a
Yeah.
mosquito, but we're good.
The garage vibes, dude. The dojo
I love
vibes,
it.
dude. Attacking you.
Garage skeeters, yeah. Watch your ankles, everyone. No, the thing is like you when you got it, you were like, hey, you guys are more than welcome to join. We actually would love for you guys to join. Need you guys to join.
No, for
because we just found out that Amy's gonna be like, X amount of months pregnant. It was kind of like, oh dang. And for us, I mean, we were all in right from the start. It was like, here's our chips. Here we go. Let's go. Didn't care when, where. It was like we were in. It's kind of been like really cool in this whole process with just both of us, or all 4 of us in a way, like both of our families, to just do this.
For sure,
And
for sure.
and so for you to say, hey, I got this draw only tag. Amy and I drew. We got these tags in our pocket, and like we need to get this done. Dude, I already went on X and I started like looking at spots and like, okay, what was the unit? Yep, okay, cool. Like we're already in. We were down right from the start. It was not even a question.
Appreciate that.
Not even a question, dude.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a you know, that's what I said. It's a big deal to have that support of like teams, and I kind of laugh like, you know, we've watched all these like YouTube like professional hunters.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like, you know, there's the one guy that's hunting that's talking, and he's like the guy in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And there's literally 15 dudes behind him, and they're going to different spots, and they're all glassing, and they're communicating, and like it's insane.
13 guides and 2 camera dudes.
Yeah, it's literally how those guys roll, and like, you know, when you're out there by yourself trying to make it happen, it's
Yeah.
you know, a little different, and you know, makes it harder. But you know, again, we're new, we're learning, but right away just started to like e-scout and kind of
We're
try
down.
to figure it out, you know, and try to
We're
make
down.
it work, right? And
I love new
Yeah.
spots.
oh, dude, it was like, and so
Love
again,
these
I had
spots.
the ambition of like making multiple trips out there to kind of check it out. Like I had 6 months, I was like, yeah, we'll do it, but we just were busy. She's pregnant. We got a baby. We have a toddler running around. Like we're both just busy with work and never made it. Ended up
Jason had to
finding
go
like
to Alaska for a week to
yeah,
go
I
fishing.
had other.
You know,
I was going. I
Right.
fished a bunch all summer.
Here.
And like, you know, I got
it
my
was tough.
priorities.
We were very busy.
Well, Jason was like, you know, it's not my first kid, so I can go out and do things.
Hey,
Just kidding.
Hey, baby, I saw you have that freezer, so you know, I'm gonna have to go on these trips still. So yeah, it's just hard when you have a lot of other passions, right? So it's like we really want to commit to doing this, but at the same time, I still want to get all these other things done.
That's
So
rough. That's rough.
yeah,
Oh, it's a rough life, dude. Rough.
it's tough,
rough
man.
Life.
It's tough.
But-
I mean, it's almost like taking it back to like teepee days, you know? It's like, that's
Almost,
rough. I
almost.
must go hunt, you know? Like, you stay here.
But at the same time, then it's like, okay, like you have to
Come
make
on.
sure that you're prepping yourself. I know for me in particular, I definitely had some more work to do and to stay up, you know, and as fitness as much as you can.
Oh,
and,
no. You had to
you
pull
know,
your bow
Yeah,
back.
you have to actually pull your bow and like practice.
You have to pull
Yeah,
your bow
yeah.
back.
I gave up. I gave up last time I was pregnant with Jeremy, but I knew this time I couldn't give up. I had a tag, which was awesome motivation. But we spent a lot of time, like every day. Like, hey, did you shoot today? Did you get to shoot today? Jason definitely has a little more freedom in his schedule to get it done, but you know, it's like that same thing. You're still committing every weekend, making sure you're, you know, shooting and your bow's good to go, and you're staying on top of it. So. Yeah, we might not have been out scouting, but we were definitely putting in work on a weekly basis.
Speaking of which, like, I don't know if Jason necessarily had that much time for practicing, but I will say this guy practices more archery than anyone I ever know, or will probably know. Like, this guy will go on his lunch hour and drive to a local archery field, will actually, you know, set up his own target because he will shoot through the hay bales. So he sets up his own target and changes and, you know, does
I wear a suit to work every day.
Yeah, so-
I have to change out
He
of
has
that
to
suit.
change.
I literally change in the
That's
car.
what I meant. It's
Also-
really interesting if you just wore the suit out.
I was
there.
gonna say that, like, you should probably
Oh,
do
I'm
that,
a
bro.
freaking sweaty mess, so it's not a good idea for me to sweat out my suit. So I got to go back to work after.
Bring,
So
bring 2 suits. No, I'm just kidding. So, my dude,
Dedicated.
yeah,
That's all
dedicated.
I
That's
hear.
right. That's right.
my dude, he practices every single day, even whether he's at work or not. He uses his lunch hour and the time he drives to actually eat his food. But that's how dedicated he is. And the only reason why I bring that up, Jay, is like I'm not like calling you out or nothing. It's like, dude, it's admirable. It's amazing the amount of dedication you have just to make sure that you put this animal down.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that's-
quick.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm going to go out there, I owe it to the animal to be like the best shot I can be, and not wound an animal or just let it happen. And you know, also ultimately, like it's just like I'm like that makes me feel the most confident is when I'm like putting in the work. If I don't put in the work and I just show up, I'm like it doesn't give me the confidence to go out there and get it done. So I was like,
that's the real setup of this whole like story, though. Like, people don't know that. They're just like, oh, how was it? How does it taste? Like, no, like, let me tell you about the hours
There's
I
a lot of
went
steps
to
before that.
practice
No,
That's
for
why
sure.
it tastes that much better, right?
into
But
it. You know,
sure.
it's like, that's wild.
yeah,
And-
there's a lot of work that goes into it for sure.
we still need to get a video of Jason doing his lunch routine. I still think that would be a very
think we need
interesting
to.
I'll try to set that up. Dude.
hour
I'll try to make
of
that happen.
camera footage.
That'd be like some David Goggins shit right there. Because, I mean, it would be like, okay, this is when I actually change. I'm like, bro, your foot's on the brake. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I put it in park right here and get my pants on.
You at all times. Like,
Right,
What are you
yeah,
doing
we'll
now?
start get the vlog going, the day in the life. Yeah, but I mean,
Little
like for me,
car cam.
Yeah, it's like, that's the only way. That's every day, every hour is kind of accounted for me, right?
Yeah.
Like just with work and family and just things and just other stuff. And so it's like, if I'm going to get it in, that's the only way I can get it in. So I get it in, right? And, and just make it work. But it's like, those are the things, like you said, like that's the time and energy and work that goes into this stuff that isn't really shown, like a picture.
People don't see that.
Of maybe you getting an animal or whatever. I've taken lots of sunset photos when I didn't get it done, but like
that's the setup. That's the true setup of this story.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you weren't 10 yards away.
Yeah. And I mean,
so you better be proficient at the distance you were at.
for sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll kind of touch on that too. Like we get kind of more into story and stuff because there's a couple opportunities that popped up and kind of where my headspace was in that moment. But I think just like kind of talking to the work and stuff. Like there was a bunch of work that went into even before we went, right? And like putting together.
Sure.
We have a toddler. Like Amy had a tag. Like she kind of touched on us
Breakfast
both, like
burritos.
trying to stay ready. Like, we make meals and we get everything ready. Found a place to stay, and it's like inviting my mom.
Found
to
a
come out there.
babysitter.
Yeah, I got my mom to kind of come babysit, and so it's like all this stuff that like goes to then like make this thing happen, right? And so
I will say that's all.
Nanette.
You
Nanette.
guys. Jason and Amy are the best planners.
But it makes it easy when you kind of get out there and you start to do it. But once we kind of once it was like kind of crazy because like it was so busy leading up to the moment of like getting out there, and we like got out there and I'd kind of picked a couple spots on the map that I was like, all right, and I kind of told you like, hey, like maybe we start here. It's
funny.
close.
You saw my Onyx. And then you're like, oh, I got a couple of those spots kind of like planned out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sick. I did my work right.
So like, we kind of picked a spot and we got out there and then like the vibes are high when we're going out there. It's like fun. Everyone's kind of getting excited and you don't know what to expect because none of us had been elk hunting. And from the research of the zone we were in, it was a premium zone. There's big bulls in there. There's a lot of cows in there. And my whole goal for the trip was just to hear a bull bugle, right? And be like in the mix of like elk running. It was going to be during the elk rut, which is like this amazing event when they're mating and the bulls are trying to show out. They're fighting each other. They're kind of like I'm trying to impress all the girls or the cows. And so it's like this cool time. And so I was like, I just want to go out in the woods and experience. That was going to be a success story if we got out there and we actually did it.
So basically, it was like a night out at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah. Pretty much, dude.
All the men
pretty
trying
much.
to impress the
dude, just flexing out there, dude, trying to make it happen. But little did I know that was like we were gonna run into it. So I kind of like, let's start at this spot. Like let's get out there. Like let's cruise out there.
I got this one spot. I got this spot marked that we can start from. That's Jason. I got the spot that we can start from, guys.
The craziest story because first of all, when he asked us to like, if you want to do this, do you want to go elk hunting? I was like, an elk. Okay, we haven't gone a deer. We're gonna go for elk. Okay.
Bigger target, better chances.
Yeah. I was like, when we first got there, I'm like, it's gonna be so hard to find them. I'm like, I feel like we're just gonna be looking at trees and not finding much.
You're not thinking about the body size.
I just didn't think he
like
did his research so well.
They're like four times bigger than a mule deer.
It was crazy.
We're out west. We're out west here, so it's like
driving.
I think because we had never been out there, I was like, hey, let's just start a little later. Like I don't want to go out in the dark, so let's just first morning. Like let's take our time. We'll get out there. Take our time. Meaning we'll get out there. Like sunrise was at like 6. We'll get out there at like 6:30.
No, sunrise was like at 6:26, and then it progressively got towards 6.
Yeah.
But it was like almost 6:30, and we were out there like at 6:30, like driving.
Yeah.
So we were we were late for the actual
first light.
For the first light, but
that was the plan for the first day.
We didn't need to be on.
Yeah, we were kind of like getting into like the zone that I kind of like picked out to start from, and we were kind of getting back in there, and I'm driving and I'm like looking. And I'm like, man, those kind of look like tracks on the
well, it just
road
rained,
right there.
Right? So
yeah, it just rained. Everything was kind of like just
you're
crisp.
Gonna see on a track is new.
And I was like, man, those look like fresh tracks right there. And we're like looking, and Adrian's like, you're like, hey, actually, should I get out of the car and look to see? And I'm like, yeah, dude, see which way they're going.
Yeah.
And I
didn't even hit the handle, the door handle.
Started to slow down. What did you say?
I was like, they are right there.
They're right there. She's like,
right there.
They're right there, guys.
And they're like, where? I'm like, right there.
I'm running,
right
running
there.
By us, just right there.
They were about 50 50 yards.
They're about
Yeah.
60, 65. I
Something like
arranged
that.
them.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
bumped
they could
them.
have been closer and
Sure,
kind of
sure.
we're heading away from us.
So
But
it's a good
65
herd, like
yards.
5 of them, 5 huge
Yeah, there was
elk.
there was a couple cows and a herd bull kind of.
There was like
Alright, good.
4
Decent,
cows, 4 or 5 cows, one
Yeah.
6x6, 5x6.
yep.
That's
Type-
when I knew
type
it was gonna be
bull.
a good trip.
Yeah,
Like,
so we were like
already.
right into it, and then we kind of just were freaking out. I
This
kind of
is
like
in
trying
the
to figure
first
out.
10 to 15 minutes of us hunting. Like
It's
Amy
crazy.
Amy has her bow dialed, ready to go in the front seat. I have Jason's bow in the back seat, holding his bow, ready for him to jump out if he needs to.
Like a good road hunter would, dude. Like,
Dude,
that might
my dude.
release on and everything, dude.
My dude. So yeah, that's how it went down a lot on this
Oh,
trip.
but you know, we were like straight into it, and I think like I was saying to somebody just recently, I'm like, there's a lot of luck involved, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? Like, yes, I had that spot kind of picked out, but maybe wouldn't have stopped there. You know, like maybe would have kind of pushed back to another high spot that I wanted to go to or whatever. And we just happened to bump into him, and then little did we know, like we would spend the majority of the trip in that little zone with no other hunting pressure whatsoever. We checked a couple other spots to go look, and
For
there was
like
a bunch of
3-4 days.
there was a bunch of other guys there, and like there was like other, it just wasn't as good, and so we kept coming back to that
A
spot.
lot of pressure. A
And
lot of
Good
pressure.
spot.
There was nobody else there, dude.
Yeah.
It was just like
Yeah.
we had it all to ourselves. There was multiple herds there.
So based off of that, I'm guessing our spot that we're claiming is our spot is was bad in the previous years, like the past like 2, 3, 4 years. I bet you it wasn't that good.
But I feel like
Or the other spots were just better. Because when we did venture
True,
out, I
true.
mean, there was a ton of action.
yeah, we saw a bunch of cows. We had bulls screaming in our face.
It's
and we
true.
kinda,
And
like, dipped
Arizona
down.
does a
I mean,
great job talking to you about, like, where the majority
they
of
do
the...
That is a
good
good
job.
And
point.
so I think the draw is, was just a little bit farther away, but, I don't know. I don't think that there's probably no bulls there or no elk
But
there. Cause they,
Another shout out to Arizona.
Yeah, for
For doing
sure.
what they
And
do.
I mean, dude,
Good job.
That first day we ended up seeing a bunch of elk, and it was kind of like I was excited. The mission was accomplished, right? Like saw them, heard them bugle,
Heard 'em.
like they were right there. Like we saw a bunch, and so like that day was really fun, and we
You
just kind
for
of had
my
a good time.
doo-doo bugle. That was a
You
good
called
one.
him. You called him in, dude.
Yes.
With the booty bugle.
He pooped, and I was like, "There's the bull right there."
Yeah, a bull was firing off like
But
right after I pooped.
then the
Very close.
the next day we went back to the same exact spot and turned up another herd.
Another
Yeah.
herd.
And like talking like again, this kind of goes with the teamwork theme. Like we kind of all kind of set up on this ridge, and we're kind of glassing and kind of checking it out,
Yeah.
not really knowing what we're gonna see. And then sure enough, Anna's like, "I think I see him." Like, and there they were. Like she picked him up, and then we
Yeah.
all kind of saw him, and we saw him kind of in this area, and they were kind of going hard from like a little before sunrise. Like they were bugling. They were moving from about sunrise
Gray light.
until about 7:38, like, and then they would just shut down. Like it was done. Like then if you didn't see them after that, like they were done. Like they were bedded down, and it was like you weren't gonna find them the rest of the day.
It's true.
And so we kind of, I ended up going on a stalk that second day on that in
Day 2. Yeah.
day 2, and went in there and kind of broke a rule. I didn't know it was a rule in elk hunting. Again, I'm very novice, very new, but once you bet them, it's like really hard to get into them. And I found out why on that stock. Went after them, knew where they were, marked it on my Onyx, and had a very good idea of where they were, had the wind right, got in really, really, really tight.
And then you set up your jet boil and made lunch. No?
I probably should have. I probably should. In hindsight, it should have been like camped out on them, just all day and waited for them to make a move. And because I was in them, dude, like I didn't know how close I was until I bumped one.
Yeah.
And I was like 20 feet away
You
from
could
the
have
thing,
put
dude.
lipstick on that one.
And it but I didn't know too, like they literally, like the cows will be on lookout. They're facing in all different directions. They're all laying around. The herd bull
Well, when
is
you
kind of
hear
like, dude,
when you
it's
hear
crazy.
bedding, let's just be honest. When you hear there's a mosquito on your hand. Sorry, I know you don't like mosquitoes. Sorry, there's a mosquito that landed on your
This is
hand.
real talk here, dude. We're in the dojo
so glad we
right
have
now.
a video of this.
Yeah.
She doesn't like skeeters.
Yes, hit my face, please.
No, so like when They're bedded?
You okay?
Sorry.
You okay?
Right.
When they're bedded, like, you would think that they're asleep and actually bedding for the day.
No,
Just
dude,
resting.
they're just they are literally they're just kind of cows milling around.
There's probably like 2 of them actually asleep. The rest of them are watching. They're on guard.
yeah.
That's what bedding means.
Yeah, for sure. And they're just in the
That's
shade hanging out.
community.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And they take care of each other.
That's wild.
And you know, like I couldn't see them because like the area that they were in was really
That
brushed
shit's
out
wild.
and like super tough to see. And I knew I was close, and we were kind of communicating via text, like we were texting back and forth.
Yeah.
Because like you guys had eyes where I was and where they were, and we were just kind of going back and forth. And I was like, dude, I don't know where the hell they are.
I mean,
like,
you
I can't
made
see
like
them.
almost a 500-yard stalk, and then you held up your bow. We could see in our binos. We're like, "Yep, you're there." Like, yes.
And
like,
then-
they're
I'm
there
like,
somewhere.
I'm like, Jason, you are so close to them. They're probably
And-
like 20 yards.
And you know, I kind of made a rookie mistake, got a little overzealous, and kind of kept like pushing to kind of like I was trying to get in position because I knew I had the wind. It was like enough wind that they weren't gonna smell me. It was enough wind to cover my movement, but I just couldn't see them. And then all of a sudden, just I heard something. I moved, and then something moved, and then all I heard was just
Everyone
footsteps
moved,
moving,
yeah.
and they just were
Boom, boom,
running
boom, boom,
away.
boom, boom.
And then you guys text me
At
like,
first
"Oh,
they
you busted."
They didn't run too far. Because I don't
No,
really know, like...
they didn't because I chased after them because they still didn't know what was going on. Like they didn't know what happened.
They didn't. They never saw Jay.
yeah, they
Camel
sensed
was
them.
good.
They just
nowadays.
knew something was. Yeah. They just
Rocking
knew
that
something
Kuya.
was.
Yeah, they knew something was
Blended in
off.
nicely.
Yeah. They knew something was off, and so they busted. And I
Also,
just
your
kinda,
camo was so good. The only reason why I picked you up was from the fletchings
yeah,
of your
my orange
arrow.
fleshings,
couldn't
yeah,
see
yeah,
him.
that's wild.
That's good.
Shout out to Kuyu.
Well, for sure.
Can't even wear Jason. I can't even tell
Oh,
Jason's
bro.
wearing shorts right now. Look at that.
Are you naked?
Boom! They're there.
Anna, don't look. Anna, don't look.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, it was cool, and I chased after him, and like so. Then we were kind of you touched on it a little earlier.
But you had a chance.
I chased after him because I was like, they still don't know what's going on. I'm just like, whatever, I'm gonna run after him, and I ran after him, and I just kind of like it got quiet, and then all of a sudden I just stopped moving, and then I saw 3 cows walking right there.
How far?
At that point, they were 55 yards, and they had no idea I was there. Like I had cover, I was
55,
there,
keep that in mind.
55 yards, and I was like, dude, like here's my chance. And for whatever reason, I had in my mind, it's like such a mindset thing. I had in my mind that I wanted like a 40-something yard shot. I don't know why, but that was like what I had going into it. I practiced at 60, I practiced at 70, 80, 100, like whatever. I practiced at long range so I can take that shot. I can make a 60-yard shot easy all
Easy.
day. And
Sure.
I just was like, I had this in my mind that I wanted a 45-yard shot for whatever reason. So I was like, I need to get closer. And so I crept up, and there was like a little scrub brush that I could like duck behind. And I ducked behind it, and the first cow didn't see me, but started kind of walking. They were kind of just like milling around at this point. And then the second one came, and I was like, oh, dude, should I draw back? And I ranged, and it was like I was at like 39 yards. I was like, oh, dude, like money, dude, I'm there. And right when I was like kind of like getting myself set, ready to draw back, she just looked at me and just was like staring. And I was like, dude, do I draw back? And just kind of like froze. And then they just took off. And then I chased after him again. And then it was chaos at that point because there was a bunch of them that I was just like running through, and they were like busting all
And they
around
don't
me.
speak English, so they're not like, hey, there's a motherfucker in the
Yeah.
bushes right there.
But again, that was kind of a rookie move, you know. At the time, like I could have blown those things out, and
Yeah.
like, that would have
Yeah.
been it. And that spot would have been blown, and like we kind of gave that spot a rest after that. We kind
Yeah.
of were like
Well-
after we kind of busted them up.
When we saw the herd move, and they weren't necessarily running, and then they went over like behind that ridge where we couldn't see them anymore. And the interesting part, we had an elk that we named Meg Bull, and Meg Bull actually left his cows and came hauling ass
He bounced.
down the face that we were glassing. There was another ridge that we couldn't see, and he kind of tucked in
Into
there,
the valley.
yeah, into the valley,
Out of the
and-
valley and like into another ridge.
And we figured he'd probably make some sort of turnaround. Now, if we had a bull tag, we would
That
have
would've been
definitely
amazing.
been, I would have probably been on the move to try to cut him off or whatever. But he, he kind of left his cows, and then you were finally in contact with us saying like, oh, they went over the backside, and then we were like, okay, well, we're just gonna let them be. But Mega Bull showed his face that day.
It was
and
a big bull.
he was by far the largest bull that we saw that whole trip.
it
And
was
he
either
giant.
He was either a 6x6 or a 7x6.
I have a photo of him.
But the mass
he was
on
huge,
his
dude.
horns and antlers were
His body.
amazing. Oh, his.
Yeah, just thick,
Hey,
big
don't
neck.
you be looking at that
His
bull's
body,
girl.
that rutting bull, dude.
Look
just
at
that
that.
body.
Girl, you look at this
Like-
body, girl.
Body.
I guess at that point, like, I mean, for Jamie,
Even his bugle was like beefier.
Oh, sure,
like he
sure.
was the man
Yeah.
around
And
there.
I guess kind of for you
Yeah.
guys, a question I have for you guys, and girls, we can start with you guys. I mean, I think we had seen elk like on the side of the 395 before, but like,
And you'd asked me if you ever. I was
like-
like, no, and I was like, yes.
but
driving
like
a-
you had never seen an elk before, Anna. Like, I mean,
No.
what was your impression at the time that this is happening now, and we're like actually in it, like
Yeah.
2 days into this hunt?
Yeah, what was
like,
your
what were your thoughts?
She said, "Oh damn."
Someone that you like. I mean, you hunt, but you don't hunt, right? Like,
No. I'm a non-hunter hunter.
I'm a glasser.
yeah.
I
How
like
much can you turn them
I
up?
like the idea of it all. I like going with everyone.
You love glassing.
I like being out there.
Right, but you're just not ready to pull a tag.
But
for yourself.
you've never like actively had your
I just-
bow or whatever. To
Yeah,
go
I
out
mean, I
there and
have
do it.
my bow, and I don't practice
Archer.
enough, so I can't even say I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready. But no, I just don't think I have the desire yet, because I even told Amy, I was like, if we all had a tag, we can just like surround this guy. And, like,
we
or
make this
girl.
happen, yeah.
Everyone shoot an arrow at the same time.
But I think like again, like my goal was just to see them and experience the rut, and we did it like
Yeah.
right out of the gate. So it's just like I'm
It's
curious.
So what
like,
was
of
going
like,
through your
yeah,
mind?
What
I
was
mean,
like
it's
that
pretty
about?
like I
when
I
you
just
when
felt
you
like,
when you
what are
heard
we talking-
that bull, when you heard that bull, what's going through?
It's just like National Geographic for me. Like I'm just like, I'm out here to support you guys, and I'm trying to locate as much as I can, or like find as much as I can, because I mean it's for you guys.
You're presenting opportunities, which is greatly appreciated. But
For sure.
yeah, it's like being able to glass well is a huge part. I mean, it is right. It is a starting spot, right? Even though you need to practice and you need to be up on your shooting game and all those things, like you have to find the animals, or
That's true.
you're never actually going to be
Mm-hmm.
hunting.
Yeah, and I think
It's true.
You know what's going through my mind? Regret.
they should have had a tag too.
I should have had a tag.
I did ask you.
I know.
I didn't
Regret.
want to bring that up earlier, but
Regret. Regret.
Well, it's funny.
That was
like,
going through my mind.
it's like when I think
I
of
need
like
a tag.
when I think of like hunting styles, like our style of hunting
Mhm.
is glassing, right?
Yes,
like
sir.
we like to glass and spot and stock. That's kind of the most productive way that we've hunted.
We're Western.
Yeah, and I think like like for elk hunting, it's cool, like especially during the rut. Like you can call, and we did call a couple bulls in. We didn't even know we were doing it, like because we had some cow
That was
calls,
close.
and we like called bulls into like our laps, kind of like
That
it was
shit
crazy.
was
It was
wild.
wild. That was like, and it was pretty cool because it's a very interactive style of hunting. Like
Yeah.
I say that about quail, very interactive. Ducks, very interactive, right? There's like there's a way to do it that you can call them in. You can kind of coax them in.
Sure. Coyote, bear.
Yeah, there's
Sure.
all that stuff, and like elk hunting is very much that way.
Yeah.
But that wasn't our tactic. Our tactic was to get up high, get a lay of the land, and glass, and it worked for us every time. So we turned up elk every single day except for one day.
Well, we didn't have a bugle tube
No, we
on
didn't.
it
yeah,
Yeah, we didn't.
because
bugle.
we were like, well, we're
Spot
going.
the-
We're going
Yeah,
for
cow.
we're going for a cow. Why would we call a bugle in, or like a
Yeah,
bugle?
why would we bugle?
A bull in? Why?
even though everything we read said find the bulls and
You'll
the
find
cows
you'll
on
find
top.
the
yeah.
But I don't know.
It
But
didn't
it's
make sense to us.
logic.
It's
Yeah, and like now I've got a bugle tube up there now and learning how to use it because I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Like you can totally use that as a tactic.
we went to Sportsman Warehouse.
Yeah, we did.
Like
that was a little
halfway
side trip.
during
Yeah,
the trip?
yeah. I went to a
Yeah.
little side trip. Went to
Yeah.
Sportsman and picked one up, and like we did do some cow calls, and it worked. The cow calls worked too. Like
Yeah,
it was like
absolutely.
very active to do it. But again, I think our style was very much spot and stock. Like it was like that's the way we were gonna do it. We weren't. We tried to still hunt a couple times, like go sit water and stuff. Like that was kind of our afternoon tactic, evening tactic. Like morning was spot and stock and
You want to
glassing.
know what I found when I sat some water?
What's that?
Found a Toyota Tundra driving up on my spot, and I think we found 2 dirt bikes and a quad one
Oh my
time.
gosh.
driving up on our spot. So
Let's just say we made really good blinds.
Oh, dude, you guys were like the ultimate blind builders, dude. Like you guys were having so much fun doing it.
we left a gift in Arizona, right? It's like our blinds are there, and they were really good.
And we did find some good water. You know, we sat water a few times, but just didn't get.
But there is a lot of
anything.
water spots. So
There
like,
was,
how
there
do-
was a
how
lot
do
of
you
water out
know
there.
That's gonna get.
So
balanced?
there's certain ones that are like springs and then man-made. You could see those on
A
the
lot
map,
of tanks
but
and stuff, but we just there was sign around him like
You
that
don't-
one. There was one tank we found that was near the border of the zone, and it was
man-made and not on the map.
but it had scrapes
Oh.
everywhere,
My God.
like fresh scrapes and
It
like,
had
big,
scrapes from 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and this year.
like, and I was like, dude, like the scrapes were like. It felt like they were 10 feet tall. Like it was crazy how big and high they were, dude. It was insane. And
I
like,
would've
there
been
was
scared.
there was hair all over them and stuff.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But you know that was a tactic we did. Like I kind of get a little like it's not my favorite to sit water. You know I get real like impatient and just kind of like sit there and just kind of like doing it. But one time we were sitting water and like you guys went to go glass a knob. Like you guys kind of went. Amy and you guys built like the best blinds ever and got us set
There's
up and we went in
pictures.
there.
You
Yeah,
can't
we'll have
see
to kind
them.
of show the pictures of that one. But we went in there and
Yeah.
that one there was actually a deer that came in behind me and was like probably like 10 feet from me. I don't even know how
Yeah,
close
it
that
was-
thing was, dude. It was so close to me, and it ended up getting my wind because it got downwind to me and blew, and
It was great to watch because you had no idea it was creeping in. The deer had no idea you were sitting in the blind, and I was just getting to watch, like, oh man, like, this is crazy. And then eventually, you know, it was a doe, so she took off and she winded you.
Shout out to
Oh.
Kuyu for
Oh,
keeping Jason so camo.
dude, it scared the shit out of me, dude. When she blew like how like deers do, and I jumped like a mile, dude. It's freaked me out because I didn't know she was there, and she was so close.
Yeah. It was,
Amy
it was
watching
very
the whole-
entertaining for me.
Yeah.
The other thing I got was a squirrel coming about 5 feet from me. This poor squirrel had no idea I was there, and you know, came in, and I'm looking at it. He's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, and he just took off. Jason got to see that, but
That was probably our best water setup, though.
oh, for sure.
And that one was good. And that one we were sitting that one, and we stayed till dark. And I had never been in what they would call like the golden hour in the forest.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there was this like probably moment of time, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, where the forest literally
Yeah.
turned completely gold. It was insane, dude. It was the most beautiful. Like
I
it was
wanna see
crazy because it was getting dark and like
Yeah,
the
it
sun
was
was
weird.
dropping.
We were
Like
at
a
the top of the
tiger.
mountain.
Yeah,
and
getting
he
the
texted
wind.
me like, "This is the golden hour. I'm experiencing
Next
it."
time I'm
What?
building my own blind.
Yeah,
and
You're
I
chilling there
watch
too?
You guys.
You should come down in there and chill, dude, for
Double
sure.
blind.
Yeah, that was a really great, you know, time. And I mean, we sat there for 2-3 hours,
Yeah,
so
we're kind of waiting there for a while.
I feel like we earned that golden hour. But it was absolutely beautiful, and those are the things that you take away that aren't, you know, tangible, right? Those are
Sure.
the things that we take away that we're going to remember, are a motivator to go back and sit
Sure.
an evening blind again. Because I definitely wouldn't mind that. I know this trip in particular, that was important for me to be able to feel like I was hunting and not maybe hiking a million miles. But it was awesome.
But I think like that's like the thing about it is you have to have all those tools in your toolbox, right? Like about knowing how to glass and being patient and waiting till you turn animals up, right? And looking and picking apart every single aspect. And Anna, hands down, you kind of turned up the most. And you do that on every trip. It's always awesome.
Typical.
Turn 'em up.
I mean,
So
that's why they asked me to come.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
trip.
you're definitely invited.
I'm
You can
so
come
glad
out
I'm
again.
good at it. Or else
Yeah,
I'd be like,
yeah.
just stay home.
It's
Why don't you
really
heat up
like a
dinner
big
tonight? Let's-
volatile. We're asking, but we're also telling.
But,
Which
because
I love it.
you know, another good point is like we found other really good water spots. One in particular that was amazing,
Oh yeah.
and we also found other hunters there.
Yeah.
So really finding water that's maybe not on X somehow
Not
or
as accessible.
yeah, as accessible as some other spots. That's really important to the whole water situation.
Yeah.
But I think like there was some challenges too. We had the
But also, it's like water sit's. Sorry to
No,
interrupt, but water sit is not really our style.
no for sure.
I'm so down for it.
But I think but I was like
Well-
kind of getting to that is like you have to have all those things in your repertoire. Like you have to be like I think
This is why we
calling.
all need tags, so I can
For
sit
sure.
in the water.
For sure.
And I'll
Anna,
go like glass.
You are down to like fall asleep at the water hole. You're like, oh, this is where we sit.
Well,
and
there's
you
another
just fall
time
asleep.
the four of us found some water. We were just checking it out, and we
Oh,
were looking
yeah.
at different possibilities of like
Sure.
where you could sit the water. Right, it was really the first time we investigated water, and the four of us ended up kind of sitting on the bank together, and we heard some noise coming, and everybody gets like, oh my gosh,
What is
and a good old fashioned moo cow, not the elk cow that we were looking for, but what was I can't remember, but like 6 or
That
7.
was a lot.
So you drew back? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Steak
and
dinner.
came in and they had no idea we were there, and so
Yeah.
that's also one of those moments. It was
Yeah.
great to watch them, but to see that this really does work, right? And it was just
does.
cool to be that close, and they had no idea you were there, and
We
yeah.
weren't even behind a blind.
No,
we
we
were
were just kinda sitting right there.
Just
with our
big,
camo.
big ups to Amy right now. You know, like just like pregnant as you know what, and just out
Is that your
there.
nice way of staying on fat? It's cool.
No, you're just 8 months
I mean,
pregnant, and that's.
If you want to call pregnancy fat, okay, but
you
you know
have
what?
another living thing. In
A
there.
lot of people would not have done what you did, and gotta
It's true.
say you are amazing just
Appreciate
for
it.
doing that. You
Appreciate it.
are a
She
rock
kept that.
star.
You didn't even let me hold your bow. I was like,
No,
you want me to
no.
hold? You want me to hold this?
No.
I
I
got
Want me to
it.
hold
carry
this?
my pack,
No,
but
no,
don't
no,
hold
no.
my bow.
Amy's
Yeah.
like Arizona Fish and Game says you can't
Yeah,
touch
you
my
can't
bow.
you can't
No,
carry
I'm
my bow
just-
for me. No, and it's too. It's like very motivating. Like obviously, slow and steady. There were times I was not setting any records or
No.
hiking any records.
No,
and
we're good.
definitely had to take care of myself. We definitely researched the hospital. We knew where one was if we were gonna need it. But yeah, it's just like we're all there. It's a great time, and as long as I was feeling good, even if it had to be slow, like I was gonna make it happen. So it was great to share that with all of you.
Good times.
Mhm.
Good times.
And then Thursday came.
Yeah, Thursday was a tough day. It was
Well-
there was some weather that day. It was kind of windy.
First of all, like the whole trip, let's just talk about the angle of the data. Like we like first day, first
Spike peak for sure.
just boom. We're up there. Boom. And then it just gradually tapered
Well, there was
off
Still, we
as our hunt trip
we
progressed.
saw elk pretty much every day
Every
except
day.
for
I'm
Thursday.
not saying that. Look, up
But
there's
you're right,
a lot of
you're
elk.
right.
There's a lot of elk in there. See
There
that?
were not elk running past our car every morning.
Thank you.
We got to see
Well, then that-
antelope. We got to see.
but it
Yeah.
progressively tapered.
Turkey.
We got to see a lot of mule deer.
I know where turkeys at.
Coyote.
Yeah, coyote.
Bear
But you're
track,
right.
bear poop, bear poop.
Yeah, bear.
Some scat, but you're right. It did
It
slow
tapered.
down.
It tapered.
But we also got more pressure, right? So
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
there was
thing-
a lot of hunters.
The thing too that I kind of like, I'm like laughing because it was like this was like a family trip, and again the whole team. My mom was watching a toddler at the house, and the toddler got sick. And then who gets sick like 2
oh, how
days?
can we forget this?
2 days into the hunt,
God
all of a sudden
damn.
I wake up with like a sore throat and a cough, and I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, this was
And
bad.
then like, then there's like, so I'm like sick now. I have like
Then
a cold.
I made out with Jason, and
but
then
like
I got
it kind of went
sick.
through because then Anna had
Anna
it.
got sick first.
Then you got it,
Or second,
and like
and then I got
there was like some sort of
third.
stomach bug that he
It was a
kind of
stomach
passed on
bug.
to you,
It
and
was a
like
stomach bug.
I had it. I like we
It
went
was
out like
awful.
I think it was like day
Nauseous.
3 or 4 where like we came back, we got up at like 4, went out, hunted the morning, kind of didn't really get an opportunity, came back to the house at like 10 a.m. or something
Yeah.
to like take a nap and kind of
Yeah.
like reset for the afternoon, and I just like literally slept from like 10 to like 3, dude, and like just was out like, and then the next day it was like Anna, and
Anna
then the day after
had
that
to
was
the
you,
morning
like,
off.
yeah, Anna took it the morning
I took
off
a
like
whole
one
day
day
off.
like.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
true,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, she
Then
didn't come
the
out.
next day we go out, and the three of us are sitting there in the morning, and Adrian says, "Hey, I just want to bring this to your attention. I'm feeling very weird right now." And we were like, "Oh no, you got it! You got
Seriously,
But
it
those
was
are-
like right after we started glassing. I was
Right,
like,
man.
"Oh God, I'm not gonna say
Breakfast
anything.
burritos got
I'm not
me,
gonna
dude."
say anything. It's probably just my stomach."
it. Too much coffee, too much burrito." But yeah, that was
I think
another.
it was like a funny challenge that kind of like presented itself, and just kind of like everyone kind of pushed through and grinded it out, and kind of was just like, hey, like this is our chance, dude. Like we're here, and finally, like you said, like we had some chances throughout the week. We got on a couple stocks. You got on one stock that was kind of, we got busted pretty quick and easy on that one, but they were like, dude, that was another one where you and I went on a stock. We had them in a good place, but the wind, right when we got to about 100 yards,
Oh,
the
I
wind
have a
was
video of that, of them running away.
Yeah.
the wind was
Yes.
swirling like
The-
crazy.
If the wind had stayed good, that would have been a very good opportunity. Kind of like almost like a ridge to ridge opportunity, very, very narrow.
And not to like that you guys were going after the bull, but I got a really good picture of the bull. 6
that
by
was
6.
that was
Yeah,
a good
it was
one
a
in
good
there
bull,
good
too.
one.
Too.
Oh, good one.
But yeah, and there was a ton. I mean, we never even went back to that spot, but that was a corridor of just so much action. You know,
Yeah.
so much poop and foot traffic and whatnot. Like that's if we ever get the opportunity to get to go back.
And
that would
deer.
be-
And deer.
Yeah,
there.
we
yeah.
bumped a bunch of deer in there, and
We bumped a
We
bunch
saw
of deer.
so
we saw
much
some
deer.
really,
It was,
really
like,
good. We saw
stupid.
probably some of the biggest bucks I've seen.
I think we
Yeah.
saw more deer than we did elk on this
Oh, for
trip.
sure.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty
They,
wild.
they knew it wasn't season, so
Yeah.
they were like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" Yeah.
What's up, suckers?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it was just lots of highs and lows, and you know,
Yeah.
like it's kind of that's like hunting in general, right? Is like especially bow hunting. You know, you're gonna go really, really high, really, really low. But you know, the Thursday was kind of a defeating day. You know, it was like time was running out. We only had that was the second to last day we had to hunt, and you know, we didn't turn anything up, and just was tough. That we got that was a good evening sit. We had a kind of a fun evening sit that night. Probably that was that spot that was the best evening sit. But then like kind of getting up Friday morning, which was the last day we had to hunt, was kind of like I was pretty bummed because I was like, fuck, dude, like I had that chance, second day, a shot that I could make, and I didn't take it, and it was just in my head, and I was like kind of bummed, like kind of replaying that moment, and I was like, I should have taken that shot, and didn't do it, and you know, but it's all for.
fair to say on Friday you woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
That's so crazy because I woke up on the right side of the
Me
bed,
too.
and I
You
was,
guys, everyone
I
else
think
was.
I was
everyone
like,
else
it's
did.
gonna happen today. Jason's gonna make it happen today.
You were saying that like right when we were getting up for coffee, like kind of
Oh,
getting the
dude, it's
morning
gonna
going.
happen today.
And you know, it's but again that goes back to the teamwork, right? Like it's just like you're kind of like pushing and pulling and kind of like keeping everyone motivated and high and going. And again, that was kind of a part of like my want for you guys to be there because you're gonna keep the vibe high, right? Like you're gonna just keep it there, and so it was important. And the same thing for Amy too. I mean, you had a tag in your pocket, but you also were like, no, like let's go, and like that kind of played into the tactic for the last
So
day.
sick. So sick.
'Cause-
you were a little bit like, well, if we don't find anything Friday morning, like we're just gonna, that's gonna be it. Like you didn't even like, oh, I'll try one more time Friday night. I could just tell like you were so upset that you had that chance day 2, right? And from the first day, I was like, hey, if I get a chance day 1, I'm taking it. Like,
Yeah.
there's no trophy for me, right? Like just getting to this point was a trophy. So I was all in for day 1, and I think then day 2 was awesome. You just had a lot to learn, right? It's like you should have just been that close and
Slowed
drawn
down,
back
yeah,
quickly
yeah,
or
yeah.
slowed. There's like all those little things, but every day we kept picking up those points on our drive back. We would talk about what the thing that we learned that day, the thing we saw, and I think on Thursday afternoon that sit was fun, and Adrian and I were like, I think we have an idea, and you just like didn't want to hear it. It was already like starting to shut down. I could tell, and
He halfway shut down. He was like, oh well, yeah, we'll figure it out. He kind of like shut
'Cause
the idea
it's
down
funny.
where it was, but
Right.
also
It's like he
he
hears
didn't.
you.
He didn't say the
I'm
idea.
not listening to you. I see your mouth moving. I
Well,
know there's noise, but I'm not listening.
It's funny because like at the time I remember thinking like that spot had been so good for us the whole time,
Right.
and so I was like, dude, we just go back there and just kind of like that's the spot we're gonna kind of put all of our chips on the table on that
Sure,
spot, right?
sure.
And I was like, that's an option. Or I was like, I had other spots marked, and I'm like, let's just send it and go try another spot.
But it's either Hail Mary
yes, correct.
or
go back to what we knew and
go
kinda
back to
what
where
was-
what we
And I was kind of debating. We were driving, and I hadn't really committed to where because I was
That
on
morning
driving.
up?
He was
And I was
driving.
like, I was
The
driving.
morning of?
Yeah, the morning of. I
Oh.
hadn't even committed.
No, for
And-
sure, because I asked him in the kitchen, and he was like, I don't know.
Being grumpy, I hadn't had my coffee.
And
yet.
I was like, oh my gosh. So, in my mind, there was only one place to go back to. The Hail Mary going to another place we'd never been to me, was just a waste of time. Because our buddy, Mega Bull, I knew we had bumped them a couple times, and I was like, there's no way somebody else found them. Because it wasn't easily accessible where they went.
True story.
He was very, like, territorial, kept them very close to him. And I was like, you know what? I just really think that, we had sort of split the herd at that point. I just had a good feeling. Like, that's where
I doubled
we had to
down.
go.
I doubled
Yeah,
down
you
on
guys
this,
kinda
and I
said-
said, you know what, Amy, you're right. I don't think he left that basin either, because we saw 2 other bulls come out of there,
Yep.
and he was in that basin still. I never saw his body come out, and that must mean he has more cows in there. So I don't think he's gonna leave
No.
those cows, and they were in there.
The rut was getting hotter and hotter, and I was just like, I just think that's called. So Friday morning, I kind of shared with Jason what I thought, and he just gave me the I don't know. And there was part of me that was like, wait, I have a tag too. Like,
plus, we didn't see any trucks drive up in there.
Right. So there's just a lot of reasons, and I appreciated your support, saying like, yeah, I think that's the call. And as we were driving down the road that morning, I recently heard, or we've recently laughed about something that said the music that you put on in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Sets the tone. We can't pass this part up. So Jason, he did play DJ. He was driver, DJ. I mean, Jason was doing a lot. We can't.
It's a lot.
Run for the hills.
I was trying to get myself in the headspace. Iron Maiden is one of my favorite bands, and so I had to kind of put Run for the Hills on.
You played
Iron
Run
Maiden.
for the Hills, and I was like, that's what the elk are going to be doing, is running for the hills, because we're going to be on them this morning.
And I just kind of felt the need to kind of ramp it up, because I was kind of getting a little surly and salty, and just kind of was just like, let's ramp it up.
Country, and it was slow.
Yeah, we're kind of just keeping the vibe there.
A little bit of everything, but yes, that morning.
Classic
I
rock.
kind of got it going with the Iron Maiden that day, and kind of got it fired up, and then I kind of was like compartmentalizing everything you guys were saying. I was taking it in, and kind of was thinking the same thing, and was like, you know what, like Amy said, I was like,
gave us an
but I wasn't gonna give an
thinking.
indication, because I was like, you know what, that's probably the right call, because I was kind of
You're so
going through it in my head.
mysterious, dude. You're so mysterious. I don't know what you're gonna do or think.
But
Well, as we were driving, I was like, hey, we're turning down this road, the same road, and he was like, yeah, and I was like, okay, check. Like, the first box has been checked.
We're going towards the right direction.
Right, and then, there's two ways there, and, my next question as we got closer was, are we turning at the tanks? And he said yes, and I said, okay, check mark 2.
You said too much, dude. People are listening.
Yeah.
They know where we were.
Shoot. And I knew we needed to go towards the tanks, mostly because that was the easiest way to get there.
Yeah. Sure.
Good access.
Littlest hiking I was going to have to do. So, again, thinking about myself, too. And as we drove in, just the way the wind was, I was like, hey, we can just park early. Like, we can hear. And
Yeah.
so we get out, we decide to park, but then, so I'm like, check 3. But then Jason, again, I'm hiking last, just starts going left, and I'm like, that's not right. But I felt like we had compromised somehow at that moment. So he was going to still lead us, I don't know, to this other part of this hill, which I didn't understand why, considering the wind. Which is funny, because I know that eventually you walked past where we would have been, but it all came together, right? So it must have been needed, all of those check marks, but still Jason's internal GPS, aka compass to drive us, but led us up the hill on Friday morning, and it was
it was a beautiful morning too. There was an awesome sunrise, dude. It was killer. Just the clouds, everything was amazing, and I just kind of
was there.
Yeah, it was all kind of coming together.
You're right. That morning I was gonna we didn't take too many pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to be in too many pictures, but and I almost took a picture of us together with the sunrise. It was so beautiful, and I told myself, nope. We're not going to take a picture together until we have an elk. So I just, silently kept marching on. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I kind of we were hiking, and I was trying to get us to the highest spot again, because there was that whole ridge that we were going to glass. There was so much movement on it, and there was kind of a mosaic of timber on one side and then an open hillside on the other.
Mm-hmm. Sounds so majestic.
And the cows, all week, the cows were kind of feeding from that timber into that.
I don't know, man. The way you say timber, I don't know, dude.
The mosaic got me.
And so we got up there, and we're kind of deciding, it's always where are we going to set up to glass and stuff. And it's just all of a sudden.
It's funny, because it wasn't much of a decision for me. As soon as I made my way to the top of that spot, I immediately took off my pack and started putting my tripod down, thinking, you won't make me move from here.
Yeah.
And that's it. This is as far as I'm going.
And
So Adrian and I have to find somewhere else. We're like, okay, let's just go somewhere else, because they're going to be right there.
Yeah, we started to move down and to the right from you guys.
Yeah.
You guys were up top, and Anna was already in front of me, and she was already almost sitting down, I think, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, I started rolling down, and then Jason said, stop. There's an elk right there. And I'm thinking the elk is right in front of me, so I'm just like, I just froze. And then he's like, it's 400 yards that way. I was like, oh shit, bro, 400 yards. But
I mean,
then,
yeah, it
then
could
we
probably
realized
hear us.
Yeah, probably good for sure.
then he thought it was a cow, but it turned out to be a spike.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a spike, but that just gave me all. And right after that,
Yep.
we just hear just
Loud.
this dinosaur elk, and we're like,
Yep.
"There's
Yeah.
Mega Bull.
There he is.
Yep, and sure enough,
There's Mega Bull."
he came
And
running
then
out,
they all
dude.
like they just came like a wall. They're just like
They-
walking.
it was-
Towards
I don't think
the
all of
sun.
them, but
Not
it
all
was
of
a
it, but,
good.
like,
This was
Right.
interesting to me too, because like this goes back to like the rut and wanting to experience
Yes.
the rut. Was that this was like the day that
Yeah.
it was the day of the rut. It was the peak of the
Could
rut.
we say what day?
It was
Yeah,
September
I mean-
September 22nd, and it's like the
I-
Amy also said it's going to happen on September
There's a
22nd.
lot of talk about September 15th, and that's great. And it didn't happen for us, but I had also heard September 22nd, and so I maybe that was like just in my mind, like this is still, we still have a chance. Like the 22nd is that Friday, you know, all good vibes. Mega Bull's still hiding, so
But he
Cooler
was,
break.
yeah, grab another one for me.
Yeah,
too.
I'll grab you guys.
But that bull was not letting those cows out of
No.
that timber.
No, he
was
wasn't.
like so set. They wanted to feed across that timber like they'd been doing all week, and he was not letting them out of that timber. He kept
Not at
pushing
all.
them back in, and he was being super, super aggressive about it.
And I'm wondering if that spike being out and sort of heading that direction where they were was a little bit of motivation for him to decide, like, hey, I'm going to come out and make my presence known. Because, you know, that's, spikes are out there learning and figuring their way out too. And so, you know, I just couldn't help but think, thank you,
Mhm.
that spike maybe even helped us in some strange way. That
For sure.
that brought that Mega Bull up to say, like, hey, stay away from my women, little young man, and then showed his self, I guess, by his voice first, and then, you know, some of the cows were
Thank you,
moving down, and immediately, like you said, the hope was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, you know, again, it's always like the getting something at the end of a trip is icing on the cake, but just to know that last day we're gonna find them again, and it was just a fluke the day before that we hadn't found them after so much success really felt good. So it was
Well,
like
this
high
one's
vibes, lots of good energy,
Lots of
This one's colder.
and we really did just sort of bring it together. And Jason, you know, you kind of got that Gomo face on.
Oh yeah, like
And,
as soon as we saw that bull and we could see the cows kind of on the edge of the timber, I was like, we have to go, because my tactic then, after learning what we'd learned all week, was like, I need to cut those cows off and get in front of them wherever they're going. I need to get in front of them so that'll be my opportunity. And the wind was blowing from our left to right, so from their right to left, like the way they were coming, the wind was going to be in their face, and I needed to kind of get downwind of them to kind of do it.
Oh, so it's like to the right where I wanted to hike up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, it worked out because we needed to get higher.
You've
is
said
my
too
thought.
much. They know where we were.
And you didn't go because
Yeah,
Well-
like I instantly, like I was like, we gotta go, like let's go right now. Like
First of
started
all,
getting our shit
shout
ready.
out to Amy saying, "You just go."
So
I was there for
You
that
deserve-
conversation.
yeah, Adrian
Toby.
had you know, kind of
Exclusive
come up-
audio.
and yeah, you know, you definitely gave me, you know, it was always a team thing, right? We started this as a team, and we're gonna go
We're a
together
team.
as a team. And
Yeah.
you said, like, hey, I think we need to move, like, grab your stuff. And that's when I turned around and I thought about it, and look, I'm gonna be real, like, I looked at you and I said, you can move way faster without me.
Yes, you did.
And I said, we've learned a lot of lessons this week. It's time for you to go put it together. And I knew that even if I went, if for some reason with the extra wind or whatever, you would want me to take that shot. And I was just like, you know, you need to go, you need to focus. You know, I'm a very, you know, team member person. You love teams. I think I've made you love teams more. But you also find a great joy in the personal pursuit. And I just knew that, like, you needed to go finish it off. So I said, go get it done. Go get it done. And you said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, go get it. I'm going to glass from here. And you started making your move, made a little plan together, and then you made your move.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean,
and you know what? You may have thought that she was your biggest cheerleader. I busted out my pom poms on your stock.
this is very
Fucking
true.
go, Jay. Fucking go, Jay.
yeah, I mean, it was crazy because I had gone on a couple stalks, and we've kind of learned to stalk over time. We've gotten better at it and reading terrain, reading the wind. The wind was just strong enough that it was going to cover movement.
The key is to like strip down to your underwear, right?
You got to strip down your underwear and socks.
Let's just
really
tell
silent,
everyone.
be quiet.
Down to your
Socks
chonies.
help.
Down to your chonies.
But I mean, we literally had been on that knob for 5 minutes before I ran off that thing, and we knew where they were. I was like, I need to get as close to that timber as I can, and I'm just going to use the terrain to go down. And I started bombing down there. That bull was kind of coming in and out. He was keeping the cows in. I have a picture. I ranged him. He was 100 yards from me, and I have a picture of him. Just gnarliest,
You
biggest
got down
bull.
the mountain so fast, by the way.
And it's like funny because
That was crazy.
I got fast to the point where I needed to slow down, right? And I got to a place where I could slow down. And once I got there, I knew that I was fine because I was like out of sight and out of the wind was covering my footsteps and me pushing through brush and whatever. But I was moving quick because I was like, I need to get in front of these things before they disappear, because we'd had it happen and we had them bed down before, and I was like, I need to move quick. And so I moved really, really quick, got to a spot, and then I could kind of tell where they were, but I just said, I need to get as close to that timber as I can. And so I started to kind of move through there. There were some cows, like moo cows that I kind of like got into, and they were kind of looking at me because I came up on them quick, and just got onto this kind of bench and flat spot that I could kind of move through, and there was enough brush and things that I could use as cover.
And wind.
And wind was tremendous. I mean, it
The
helped.
wind
It's like when they talk about everything coming together.
Yeah, everything was coming together because, like in Arizona, when you're walking around, sounds like you're walking with a bag of Doritos taped to your feet. Like it's just like
Very hard.
everything's so loud, and so like that's to the animal's advantage. And so like with the wind, it kind of neutralized that, right, and made made the playing field even. And so just kind of like pushed my way through that and got close, and then all of a sudden I started getting closer. I got to like this one spot, and all of a sudden I could see a cow, and I was like, oh dude, like I'm right there. And I ranged it, and it was 70 yards, and at the time my phone, like I had my phone with me.
You said 69 yards.
Yes, 69. Yeah, 69 is good.
Right.
Good number. Good number.
Let's be accurate.
Yeah,
Dude.
I want to be accurate. Accurate.
Like, dang, 1 yard away. Give him a break.
But it's
Fucking
such a
69, yo.
So 69. I ranged at 69 yards.
Sorry, babe.
It was
Why you getting
perfect.
shy all of a sudden?
Yep. But so I ranged. It was 69 yards, and I saw one, and I was kind of like, Amy was like blowing up my phone, and I was kind of like, "What's going on?" And but I didn't look because I was like,
your phone in a good way.
yeah, no, you guys were trying to give me
we
intel.
We were sorry. Yeah, oh, goodness.
Yeah, trying to give me intel.
But when
69.
you kept.
Shoot it now! Shoot it now!
Like,
69, epic! Shoot it now!
You can do it. No, we were seeing the same things, and then when you didn't check your messages, I told Adrian. Adrian had bumped up to glass up where I was, and I said, "Oh, he's on him. He's seeing the same thing that we're seeing, and so he's not responding." And that's when Adrian and I were just, throwing out those positive vibes and mantras like, "Get it done, get it done."
Come on, Jay.
And
Come
so
on, Jay.
I had like really good cover. There was, I saw one cow. Little did I know there was two cows there. The second cow steps out, and it's a bigger cow, and I'm like, oh, that's the one right there. And so I was like trying to figure out a way. I was like, man, like, okay, how can I get a little closer? Again, I was like, remember I kind of had that thought of like 45. I want to get to like 45 or whatever. That was in my mind, and I was like, I need to get closer. And there was like this brush that was kind of like big and wide. It was probably 15 feet wide.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of enough cover that I could like kind of move, and I was on the right side of it.
Yeah.
And then I moved to the left side of it, and I was like, okay, like cool, like this is good. And so I was still ranging, and I was at like, now I'm at like 63. I'm like, dude, fuck, I need to get just a little closer. I can make that shot, but I just want to make a shot that I know I can make. And so there was like a tree that was a little bit further up, and then there was a ravine, and then there was like this bench that these cows were kind of feeding on. And I was like, all right, if I can get to that tree, I can use that as cover. And so I get to that tree.
So you popped your smoke.
Yeah. Threw the smoke bomb. And
threw a smoke
But I got
bomb.
up to that tree, and I re-ranged, and this time I was at 55. That magic number of 55 popped up again. And I was like, dude, this is your opportunity right here.
You couldn't go any further.
I couldn't go any further. There was like a little like kind of wash ravine right there, and I couldn't go any further. And I was like, this is my opportunity, and this is the chance. I can shoot this shot. I've shot this shot.
I'm so pumped right now.
I've shot this shot a million times. I can shoot this shot, and I can hit a nickel. I can hit it, dude. I know I can do it. so I'm like, you know what, like this is the chance. And so I'm like, you know what, I used the tree as soon as they were kind of feeding, as soon as the head kind of turned in the right direction.
They're
it was
feeding
kinda
up
turned
on
away.
some juniper, so
Yep.
they, their head was really like changing direction.
And I just saw that and just was like, as soon as their head turned away from me, I drew back and I stepped out from the tree and just kind of like.
So
Dude.
at this time, Amy and I are glassing because like when you said like you saw this cow and it turned out to be a spike, I like stopped going down to where Anna was
Stayed
in
up
her
top.
glass, and I stayed up there with you guys to get information as you guys were whispering. So then you decided, hey, I'm going on this stalk. I stayed up there and I just like set up glass on that spike, and then that's when that bull came out and I just put on glass on them, right?
Yeah.
I was just stuck there. Now, when you're in there, we have no idea what's happening other than Jeremy at the back door at the garage. But yeah, so we have no idea what's happening, and we just know that you're not responding back to tags. So we're just like, he's in it. He's there.
Yeah, we're all watching the same thing, which is crazy because your point of view is obviously, up close and personal. But we're all watching these two cows, and we know that you're on it.
You know what's crazy is that you and Adrian obviously knew what you guys were looking at.
And then,
no one told me anything.
Oh, we're so sorry.
No. But I found
You
these
found them
two.
too?
I mean, I found a lot of them, but I was like following them, and they were all
They
like,
were popping in and out.
Yeah.
these were the
and
two that were
for
open.
some reason, I focused on these two.
Crazy.
I didn't think about that, but you're right. We weren't talking
That's
about that.
No one was talking
She
to
was
me.
far enough away that it was,
I was just like
Yeah.
we
doing
couldn't
my
tell
own
her.
thing, and it was crazy for me too, because like you guys were having a party up there.
We were having good vibe mantras up there.
It was
Not
like
a party. I wouldn't call it a party. Just say, "Fucking Jay, do it."
I could
Jay,
hear
do
I
it.
could hear
Do it.
everything.
Come on.
I could hear everything, but like I had no idea that I was looking at the
elk that were, like,
one.
the
I was
target
cussing
elk.
at
And-
you. Good fucking Jay, do it.
And yeah, it was like pretty cool for me because I'm trying to be like, oh, man, I hope I'm looking at the right one because like I'm looking at some.
Right.
So all of a sudden, Amy starts to like record. I don't know she's recording.
I was trying to, so I didn't have, any kind of my mount set up to take my phone. So because it had all happened so fast, I hadn't put my phone on my binos, right?
Right.
So then I was sort of, if anybody's ever tried to put a phone, lens or binoculars and you don't have it set, it's
That's
like,
hard.
oh my god, it's
You
like
have to
so
know
ridiculous,
the right
right?
angle, and
Right, now, phones have 3 lenses and it's moving around.
it's really tough.
So I was trying to get a picture of those cows. I knew that. I figured that's what Jason was looking at. And then all of a sudden, should I just burst the bubble?
Well, I mean, Jason was at the bubble bursting.
Well, so whatever. You guys are seeing exactly what I'm seeing. I didn't know that you guys were seeing exactly what I'm seeing.
We don't saw it.
But I get to that tree. I'm like, this is my opportunity, and my adrenaline's like through the roof because I'm like, dude, this is. I'm close. I'm right there. This is my shot. This is my chance. And I go to draw back, and I'm like shaking, just shaking, like quivering, dude. Right? So I'm like, my bow's shaking, and I draw back, and I get back to full draw. I hadn't anchored yet, but I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? Relax. Deep breath. Take a deep breath. Start going through my checks, right? Like, my grip's good. Anchor. Kind of like get my level. And I'm like, okay, like they're at 55 yards. Know where to put my pins at 55 yards. And I just kind of like started to just breathe. And I still was kind of shaking. You're just like, dude, like, and I'm like, all right, settle. Elk was kind of quartering away, 55 yards. And I'm like, okay, got my spot, picked my spot.
I would shake.
And just kind of was just like, all right, like, here we go. And just kind of went through all my checkpoints again, talked to myself mentally, was like, get in the right mind. You can make the shot. You've made the shot 1,000,000 times, and you've hit way smaller targets than this, and you can do it. So just kind of like did my shot process and pulled through, and bang, hit it. And just like was like, oh my god. And it like bucked, like kicked, like totally like donkey kicked almost, like, like.
Oh yeah, we saw it.
Donkey kicked. The other one took off and ran back into the timber. This one ran just directly into that open face.
So with no warning from us, we don't know. We can't see you from the top of the mountain that we're at.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea where you're at. We just know that you stopped texting back. That's all we know. So-
I don't even know that.
Playing
I'm
hard to
just
get, dude.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, this dirty little cow over here. So you snuck down and got below this cow to where the wind is blowing in your face, basically,
Yep.
and you're almost staring uphill a little bit at this cow. There is some obstacles in your way, all good, but you got 55 yards away from this cow. We don't know that, and we're just watching, and all we have to do is keep eyes on the cow.
Mhm.
That's it. Just keep eyes on the cow. Keep eyes on. All of a sudden, I'm eyes in the cow, and I'm like, oh my God, this other cow jumps and runs, and I see this other one jump and run across my screen, like in my binos, and I'm just like trying to follow it, and it's just side hilling.
Adrian just yells out, it bucked. I see it bleeding, it bucked.
So it bucked, and then it went behind the tree that it was, and it like side hilled, and it basically, I could see blood starting to run down
You
the
can
side of
see
the body.
The hole was big.
And you saw it too, right?
Yeah.
Because you saw
Like I
both
said,
of them.
I just picked these two,
Yeah.
waiting. I had this moment to myself and like was like giving you this.
My
Oh,
girl.
yeah, cow.
My girl.
It was actually pretty like, it gave me the chills. I was like, oh man, I
It's-
hope this happens.
And I mean, that's
it
what.
happened.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Within a minute of me feeling that, it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, so we see this blood running down the side, and like we're just following that thing, following it, and it goes down into another like valley, and then it never comes out. It goes behind a tree or a bush, and never comes out. And I see like this bird flying out like 10 seconds later. I see this bird like aggressively flying out, just one bird. I'm like, oh, no, that was a bird. That was weird. I think it fell. I think it crashed because that bird, the way the bird flew out, I don't know why that's so prolific in my mind. Like the way I saw that bird fly
It's
out.
jammed
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
it was like scared out.
Yeah, it was like it got
oh,
scared, and
yeah.
I was able to recognize like something scared that bird out of that valley, and I think that was the cow crashing. I think she died very, very fast.
Very fast.
Within 40 seconds, she passed. Your arrow entered
just behind the ribs.
just behind the ribs, and then it diagonally
It hit the
went
shoulder
through.
blade the other
It
side.
hit
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I mean, it like liver, double lung. You know,
Yeah.
it got in the.
You took guts, liver, double
It
lung,
hit
lung,
everything.
and then like probably artery
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
spine because it was a little bit on the higher side. Dude, I think it was a perfect shot because of how quick she died. And you, after this happened, like, you know, we're trying to text you. We're
Actually,
We're like-
he texted us first, so I had my phone out.
oh, that's right.
As soon as you said it, she kicked. Oh my God, she's running. I just turned
Like,
my
she's
video.
bleeding. She's bleeding. She's gonna fucking die.
I just started recording with my video,
I
and then
cussed a
all of
lot.
a
Because you
sudden,
weren't looking at the binos, right? You
right?
were-
So I just pulled it out because it was like that point. There's no reason to look at the binos. They're pointing the wrong direction. She's gone, and I got a video of her like she was still running when I first saw her. She slowed down. She walked around like two groups of trees and just disappeared. And so I'm really glad it was windy because I
The
wasn't
audio,
listening to
the
us,
audio.
but, you know the
The
it's
audio
good that we
was-
just keep it there and
We're
it's like very like emotional.
We're not professional killers.
Yeah, it's just like crazy, and I just I think you just hear me say like, holy shit, he did it, holy shit, he did it. And then Jason texted me like within the next minute saying, I took a shot, I saw blood, she was running, and I just texted him back with, we saw the whole thing. I'm pretty sure we know exactly where she stopped, and you said, okay, I'm heading back up. So then you made your way. But yeah, he, it's crazy that what a chance that the four of us got to see that
Yeah.
all
Well,
together in different perspectives.
That's
but
pretty
all together.
wild.
It's crazy to me because again, like it's such a team effort, and like the fact that you guys all got to witness it and kind of see it play out from all different perspectives, right?
Yeah.
And like the fact that like it, for me the whole time it was this whole team thing. Yes, I had the tag. Yes, I was the one that got to pull the trigger, but without the support of everybody there, like it probably wouldn't have happened, right? Like it was like keeping the vibe high, keeping the motivation up, like turning up animals, like all the things that go into making this thing happen. It's like such a big thing to have that support there, and
Dude,
I can't thank you guys enough, because it's like, yeah, like I got to pull the trigger, I made it happen, and like it was like this awesome experience, and it was like this high and this moment I've been working for a long time. But you know, it goes back to like I couldn't have done it without everybody there, you know, like from you guys out in the field and like helping me and motivating me and doing all that stuff, to my mom being there, you know, Jeremy there too.
I don't
It's
know,
like
man.
all these things, man. It's cool.
I think you're giving a lot of credit to us, but which I appreciate, because I'll take credit any day of the week. But
Or just eyes.
I don't know, man. Like, you taught me a lot of how to e-scout. You taught me a lot of like where to look and how to look and what to look for. I don't know, man. You're giving a lot of credit off to other people, but you did a lot, dude. Like, you've done a lot for you to get where you're at, which is you hunted an elk.
It's way easier than a deer.
Yeah, it's always say it's easier when you get one, right? But
Well,
I
it's
think-
way easier than a coos deer,
But-
that's for sure.
But I think
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
but you know, we've kind of like put the puzzle together, I guess. And again, like that's why I kind of like just
you
keep
keep
going back
saying
to it,
we.
like, but it's
I
like,
think you did a lot, bro.
yeah, and I mean, you know,
I want to
it's-
give some credit back to
for
you.
sure. No, and I
my
appreciate
dude.
that, and you know, it's like it's hard because again, like to me, it's like it's the support of everyone around me that makes that possible. From her letting me dick around and go shoot in the backyard, or
I don't know,
letting
man.
me go out and do the thing, and her kind of being like, hey, and we talked about this after, like Anna, and
Sure.
I think we were talking about this, like with us, and like having supportive wives that allow us to they you guys take time out of your schedule to allow us to go do this thing, just because you know how bad we want to do it and how passionate we are, that you're supportive of us, and then now you guys have kind of picked up this passion purely based on us just bullshitting and kind of
I
wanting
don't know.
to do it. Like, it's
Amy
pretty
wants
cool.
to kill some shit.
I mean, I feel like we picked it up together, and obviously I think we have had different, motivations and other things along the way. But, earlier when you were talking about the practicing, I was thinking, like, it's just such a healthy habit, right? And there's a lot that goes into it when you're sitting out there. I mean, we all took time off of work, and, there's a couple times sitting and glassing, I was getting very anxious because our lives are so fast-paced. But then I reminded myself, like, hey, you wanted this. You asked for this time. You have this, 8 days of hunting. And, like, you should be grateful and, just kind of to recenter yourself. And so, it's just a healthy habit. So, yeah, it's like, one of those things that does at times take a toll on you because it's a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it's such a good thing. And then to be rewarded with this kind of opportunity at the end of it is absolutely amazing.
And it's expensive.
No,
I mean,
it's not
like,
easy, dude.
the tags are not cheap. The equipment to hunt these things are not cheap. Even the subscriptions for the mapping,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
OnX and Go Hunt, like, those are not cheap.
Yeah,
Like,
nothing good in life comes for free, right?
That's
Like,
true.
It just really doesn't.
And those
but
are
damn, it's worth it.
those are modern.
That's my point. is,
Yeah.
Damn,
And I think
it's worth it.
For
It's
sure.
funny to kind of come to this moment and have this conversation, because I think, like, when we started this podcast, whatever, 4 or 5 years ago now, and we've done it off and on, but
Damn,
the whole
has it
idea
been that long?
the whole idea was to, like, talk about getting our own food and, like, sourcing our own food, because that was the healthiest and most natural way
Well,
to
it's
get
in the
food for
it's
us.
in the name.
Yeah, it is, dude.
Free range tales.
Yeah, and
These are the
it's-
stories to get our food that are free range.
and we've unlocked all these little pieces of the puzzle, to whether it's fishing, hunting, various aspects of hunting, various aspects of fishing, diving, spearfishing. I mean, tonight we're gonna have a meal, dude. Like, kind of after this, we're gonna
Surf
we're gonna-
and turf.
We're gonna cook up some elk tenderloin from this trip, and we're gonna cook up some lobster that you caught over the last 2 weekends, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's
Some last night or
Yeah.
this morning.
amazing, dude. I mean, it's
That's
cool.
pretty
Like,
cool.
it's awesome, and like that's the most beautiful part, that we're sharing this experience, because that was our pursuit. That was the vision and the goal.
Yeah,
And like it's taken a while. We didn't know how to hunt, right?
yeah.
We were late onset hunters, dude. We were 30 plus, dude.
Actually, like, both of our dads did not teach us
right.
how to hunt.
Nobody really in my family, dude. It just was like, I mean, you
But
have
that's like
uncles and
something
stuff,
you're
but-
taught from your dad. Like, you know, like, oh, my dad took me out hunting the first time, and, you know, whatever it is, right? You know?
And I think about that for, you know, we have a toddler now, and he's been out on this elk hunt. We went right back to him after we got the elk. We
Little
had the
dude.
tenderloins with us, and like
He was so stoked
he's-
for you.
he's
He
like-
knew it
Hugged
happened.
you.
he
Yeah.
like he was stoked. He kind of almost knew too, and like, you know, you were
He
like
knew.
the day there was one day in the afternoon where you were like showing him how to bugle, and he loves to do it, and he watches the videos with us, and he bugles.
That was the day I got sick, and I stayed home from the afternoon hunt.
But it's like this tradition that you do, and like there's so many things to it. There's so much, like, to me, hunting is so much more than the shot, the kill.
Dude, you're
meat,
right. You're right.
It's like it's
Yeah.
all the hard work, the
Yeah.
discipline, it's the motivation. Like I'm
It's
in,
the
I'm
prep-
in this room
The
that we're in
prepping,
right now.
everything. Like,
The majority of days, there's some days I slip. You know, I'm human. But the majority of days, I'm in here at 5 a.m. every day, swinging those kettlebells around and getting after it, trying to keep myself motivated. Every day at lunch, I go shoot my bow and take time away from my day and change out of my suit and fucking go sweat my ass off and go shoot my bow for an hour. And then I come back and, you know, but that's all because I'm like, that's how dedicated I am to this craft, right? Like,
Jay, how many shots did you take on your string? Your original,
I'm embarrassed about
your
that.
original bow tech.
I'm like-
actually, you
It's
shouldn't
actually
be.
testament to Bowtech and their
I would say
original
this.
bows. Like,
That's what I was gonna say.
shout out to Bruce down at the bow and arrow shop. Keeps our bows tuned and shooting straight is
So
fucking dialed
Jason
in.
shoots a Revolt X that he bought 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Bought it in 2020.
He had the original strings on it.
For
Put
2 years, dude. And I
Put-
probably shot 20 to 50 arrows a day, every day.
so we're looking at
That's a
20,000 plus arrows
On the
these-
original strings.
on these original Bowtech strings.
Yep.
No,
I mean, this is real.
No, it is, dude.
These are real
Yeah,
numbers.
they were and I shot every single day for 2 years on those strings. It's my first bow. I
You
never
never
owned a bow.
waxed them.
I never waxed them. I've never owned a bow before. I'm kind of like ride it hard and put it away wet and dirty. You know, like
bought
just
the
like,
so you bought the
Like-
bow, and then you shot it for 100 and 200 arrows, and then you took it back to
had to tune it up for
to
me.
Bruce,
Yeah.
and you said, "Hey, I shot my allotted amount." He said, "Already? Okay." And then he fucking did it, and then he retuned your bow, and that was it. You just went off, and
I just started shooting.
thousands of arrows
Yeah.
later.
And I would go back in there because I like the camaraderie of the shop, and I would go back in
Gotta
there.
go back in there and get some more arrows.
Yeah, I
when
would go
you,
get arrows. I was launching arrows all over the place, and
launch them outside and break them.
we were, you know, I think like we've done like 3D shoots, and I want to do more of those 3D
Bruce,
shoots.
we're coming back to you, buddy.
But you know, it just was all these things that we would do, and like I just someone's having a meltdown out there. But anyways, you know, I just shot and shot and shot and shot, and those were the original strings, and that was it. And then I kind of like I gotta kind of put this out there too. I started kind of getting the yips right before this trip. About
yeah.
a month out, I started
Yeah.
getting kind of the yips and fucking panicking, and just was like getting like I don't know what it was. It was just something got in my head.
The demon crawling up.
Yeah,
your leg.
there was a demon that got further up my leg than I wanted it to, and got right up in there. And
Yeah.
I ended up dry firing my bow probably 3 weeks before this trip. And I'd never done that before, and it was totally related to me being in my head trying to like solve the problem. And Bruce, shout out to Bruce down at the Bone Arrow Shop. The guy fucking put my bow back together. He gave me a hard time for it. He kind of let it go pretty quick. Like, yeah, I was thinking he was gonna dig into me. I was so embarrassed and so ashamed of myself.
You and me both, buddy.
And you know, he put the bow back together and got me shooting straight again, and you know, kind of gave me the confidence walking out of there. And you know, we'd text back and forth leading up to the trip, and you know, I was kind of like, dude, like, you know. But again, that kind of goes to the people that are supporting you, and that guy supports me through and through, man. And it's awesome. And he doesn't. I don't even know why.
I don't know,
I'm just
dude.
some kook that like, you
I
know, I'm
think-
just some Barney
You
that
guys
just
both
is
like
like whatever.
Kuya.
I don't know, dude. I think the first person you texted was me, and I was like, "It's okay, I've done it."
I did text you because I knew you would understand, and like you were like, dude, like, but you would lift my head up again and make it right. But anyways, man.
I just
No.
dry fired my bow is the worst text I've ever received from you.
It's just, I think
Today.
it's cool. Like, what you guys are doing is super cool. Like, who else is going out and, I mean, I know hunters are, but like, other people that
Well,
aren't
not on the
hunters.
West Coast. This is like
Well, I know, but like
we're rare.
Yeah, we're LA based kids, man.
Southern
Right.
California based.
and you guys are getting it done because like there's
Yeah.
so many people that are like, wow, what you guys are doing, and I'm part of it only because I have
Because
good
you married
eyes.
into it.
Because I married into it.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people who pick up a bow with the best of intentions, or pick up a rifle with the best of intentions, pick up
Yeah.
a spear gun, pick up a, these other things that we've done, but we've, stayed committed to doing them, and, I think that's really, to me, like where the testament comes up.
Well,
Because it's very easy to give up.
For the record,
Very.
I bought her full wetsuit, fins, everything for diving. Not interested. Anything to do with
hunt as much as you want me to.
Diving.
Anything
so much.
land-
Fishing not so
land
much.
based?
I have this feeling as soon as I can get back in the water, we might be changing that. But yeah, absolutely. It's,
land-based anything. Anna's in,
It's
and
so-
she has the
But
gear for
actually, to that, I don't want to change conversation too much, but kind of the result of a hunt, right? So I shoot this thing,
it. Sure,
right?
sure.
And what do you have to do? You have to now deal with this.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And you have
the
to process this
processing
animal.
factor.
And so, like, we
Okay.
let this animal do its thing, perish in peace, and
it
do its thing.
expired.
And we gave it time, and we didn't want to bump it and kind of disturb it. So whatever, you guys had eyes on it, and you knew where it was. And so we go to turn it up, and we find it.
Oh,
and
true.
walking up on this thing, and it's like, whoa, like this is crazy. And we all kind of we found it, and we had watched processing videos about. None of us had ever done it ourselves. All four of us had never
watched any videos on how to process it.
I
but I
mean,
think Adrian had, I had, Amy had.
Yeah.
We all
we've
kinda had,
only
like,
seen videos. I think the biggest animal that any of us had ever touched was a rabbit.
Jason and I did
A
process, we did go to that ranch. We
Oh, yeah,
processed
we did
like,
process a pig.
a
But
pig,
but actually you doing it.
Yeah,
But
there
I
was
will
no
say-
no one instruction there.
Right.
Yeah.
right, and
This
it
is
was
us.
hanging
Yeah.
versus this being
Correct.
on the ground. And
That's
doing
what I
it in the
mean.
fields. Yeah,
Okay.
And it's
nobody
like
had.
it makes that
Perfect.
situation real because you now
Very.
need to care for this meat that you
Very
want to take
real.
home and you want to eat it, which we're going to eat tonight. But
Yeah.
like you want to take care of it, and
Yeah.
so like we walked up and
Yeah.
everybody we took a couple photos to kind of honor the moment, honor the animal, honor ourselves, and the hard work that went into this thing.
Absolutely.
And then also
Little grip and grin.
and we started, it was just like, all right, it's time to get to work. And, I did the first cut. I was all fucking nervous and shaky.
shaky.
Just like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was
You're
like,
so
dude, like,
shaky.
what? Like, and, we kind of got into it. And then once we kind of started to skin it out, like, it all kind of came together. And everybody kind of stepped up and did their thing. And, like, for all of us have never done it before, it was, like, pretty amazing. And we broke that thing down.
Yeah.
We packed it out. We're probably the first load we carried out was probably 80 pounds each. Anna carried a bunch out too. Amy, we kind of left you to kind of watch
yeah,
it and be like, make sure a coyote or a bear doesn't come. Like, hold this
Amy,
thing.
you just sit there right there,
Yeah.
okay? You're not gonna carry
She had
shit.
a way more valuable package.
And
I've just been carrying the
Yeah.
load all week, so
But
so we can carry
you
most
guys
of
did
it.
good. I mean, it took you guys 2 trips, so
yeah, we took
Yeah.
two trips and
Yeah.
packed the whole
2
thing
heavy
out.
trips.
Anna carried the head out too, which
It
was
was very
awesome.
heavy.
The head was surprisingly
No,
heavy.
dude, that
like
thing probably 40
pounds.
something pounds easy, and
Yeah.
so,
That was wild.
but the thing to me that made me, I like had this like moment in time when we were there. I just was like, this is amazing to watch these people just like, nobody's ever done this and we're just all doing it and nobody's like backing down. And we did a great job, dude. Like we took it, I found a processor out there. We took it to him. He wasn't a very talkative dude. And then after the fact, I just talked to him recently and he was like, dude, like you guys didn't have any loss. There was no, like, you guys did a great job cleaning. I was like, dude, this is our first time ever doing it. And we did a great job, dude. It was cool to kind of like get that compliment of like
Jay,
taking care of the
when
meat,
you told me that over the phone, I was so stoked. I was like, "Are you serious? What did he say? Say it again. Say it again. Say
Yeah,
those
this guy,
words."
this guy touches a lot of animals too, man. And we took that thing in there and cleaned it up and
We
delivered
did
it.
a great job.
It was cool. It was fun,
cutting
man.
that thing up and quartering it.
Yeah.
So,
And cleaning it. There's a lot of hair.
Oh yeah. It was cool and it was
shout
fun.
out,
And
shout out to all the knife companies that we used.
got
Oh, yeah.
Benchmade, Buck.
Benchmade and
Yeah.
Havalon.
I
Finally
have my
got-
own Havilon.
I
Yeah, the
know,
piranha.
I finally
Piranha's
got
an
my,
amazing knife, dude. That thing's the only knife you need, man.
my
It's crazy.
steep country finally got some
Yeah, the Benchmade.
first blood on it.
We'll have
so
to-
it's amazing.
That
did like
bench,
that
that
one.
Benchmade was really good.
I like
And
them.
I would like to do a review.
I was gonna
on
say,
that
I was
one.
just gonna say, we'll have to do some reviews of some of the gear and some of the stuff we used and how
Oh.
important all that stuff is.
We'll
but-
have to do I got some new gear.
Well,
New
let's say
gear?
that for another time. But we
Bushnell rangefinder. Let's go.
Yeah,
So-
we'll bring that out. We'll do some videos.
Just got it, so we're gonna have to do a review on it.
Yeah.
probably gonna need to go use it a little bit.
No.
But all in all, I mean, what an amazing trip. I mean, it was awesome for me to come back. When you see people, obviously our close people, we sent some pictures to
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
Like coming back, and I know, I went back to work, and people were like, "How did it go?" And I was like, "It was amazing." And last day we got it done, and just people are like, "Oh, of course it's can we get some jerky?" And we can't wait to share that. We haven't gotten it back quite yet, but it was awesome. And just thank you guys for another amazing trip and memories and learning. And I can't wait for the next one.
Are you kidding me?
Be a little lighter.
Thank you guys for letting us be a part of it.
I will
so.
say though, like as a hunter, non-hunter, like it's so much fun to just be out there with you guys. Because I mean, I don't have a say in anything because I don't know anything. But like, I will gladly be out there, whatever time, all day, every day.
Just tell her.
Because I'm so for like the team and like for you guys to like get something, and it's
Well,
so
Anna loves
rewarding.
glassing.
So rewarding when you guys do. So like,
It's pretty cool. It's been pretty fun to all learn and grow together and like do the thing, and it's like fun. It's like memories we're gonna have for a long time because we're doing these great. Like you go on a vacation with people, like you learn so much about them, and if we go through like the ups and downs of a hunt, you learn so much about people. And it's really fun, and I can't thank you guys all enough. Again, I mean, I was the lucky one that got to pull the trigger, and can't wait to support everyone else and whatever else comes up. But it's fun. It's fun to learn, and it's fun to do it. So it's like,
Well, we
it's
got
cool.
Amy coming up with a javelina tag
Yeah, hopefully
coming
get
up
some
soon.
javelina
Well,
tag
let's see.
coming up.
We got a hunt in January. That's all I know. That's the next.
Hopefully,
Next up.
hopefully we'll draw
I
those
got
javelina
eyes for
tags.
you, girl. I got eyes for you.
Go back out to AZ. We got some tags to fill here in California,
Yeah.
so we'll keep this going, and hopefully we'll get this show going again and kind of keep the momentum
Yeah.
going. We'll get
Yes,
some gear reviews and stuff. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, checking us out. Thank you guys for taking the time. Let's go cook some elk. Let's go cook some lobsters, and
We're gonna revamp this
yeah, let's do
the
it.
whole
Man.
podcast.
It's fun.
It's done.
We'll keep it going. Good things.
Way to go, team! Turn them up.
Turn 'em up.
Turn them up.
Cheers
Right
to you
on.
guys.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
No,
Thanks
cheers
again.
to
Thanks
everyone.
Oh yeah! Cheers!
Kumbaya
Cheers!
moment.
Cheers!
But yeah, check us out. Instagram, Free Range Tales. We'll put some content up there, and we'll go from there. Peace.